Hey guys, Horror Lorekeeper here. Today we're tackling a deceptively simple question that opens up a whole psychological can of worms. Why is Michael Afton so different in FNAF Sister Location? We're going to look at how he looks in this game, how he behaves, and what we actually do as him, how the story reintroduces him and then literally takes him apart, and the leading theories for why this is the turning point where Michael stops being a blurry background Afton and becomes the series' walking penance. Appearance, behavior, story, theories, so sit back, relax, and let's dive back into the world of FNAF. First, context. Sister Location isn't a pizzeria night watch. It's the rental maintenance facility hidden behind a freight elevator and fluorescent corridors. If the classic Freddy's is daycare nightmare, this place is clinic meets carnival, steel vents that breathe, a private room that pretends to be safe, control modules with pastel buttons, and the scooping room equal parts operating theater and slaughter bay. This is the Afton family's basement, the lab where the brand smiles get manufactured and where Michael finally steps into the center of the plot. It's set after the childhood tragedies most fans attach to the Afton home era, and before the pizzeria simulator burn. In other words, this is Michael in the middle of the bridge, old guilt behind him, righteous obsession ahead. Let's start by seeing him the way the game shows him, because the visual shift is half the answer. Early in the series, Michael is a rumor in minigames, a lanky older brother silhouette, foxy mask dangling, smirking and careless. In Sister Location, we meet a different creature. We can see first in glimpses, then in full, a man who becomes expressionless but unsettling, skin turned dark and purpling, eyes sunken, clothes hanging wrong on a body that's been emptied. Before the scooping, he reads ordinary, average frame, night shift slouch, a guy doing an unpleasant job. After the scooping, he's lanky and humanoid, but wrong, a walking negative space with the posture of someone concentrating on not falling apart. Later games call his hue purple in the fandom shorthand, but in Sister Location's ending, he isn't a sprite, he's a horror, mangled and nightmarish without fangs, a person-shaped reminder that the series can be cruel without a single jump scare. Functionally, Sister Location flips Michael's role. In FNAF 1-4, the player is a guard or a boy reacting to systems. In Sister Location, Michael is the errand runner of a subterranean lab. You don't watch cameras and wait. You crawl through vents, repair panels, ride an elevator, listen for a daycare attendant's tone of voice weaponized as Laura's lullaby, and follow an animatronic's helpful instructions. The trigger for danger here isn't just time passing, it's obedience. When Baby says, "Do this," we do it, and each correct task moves us closer to the scooping room. That's a huge tonal switch. Michael's threat profile to himself is compliance, and when the game ends its workday humor with a straight face, "Enjoy your exotic butters," it's doing gallows comedy on purpose. We're being trained to trust the voice that's herding us into the machine. So how does this tie into the big picture? Lore-wise, Sister Location is where Michael stops being the kid who laughed at his brother and becomes the man who fixes everyone else's mess. It has been theorized he's sent by William Find Elizabeth, find the truth, keep the secrets. Whether he thinks he's doing penance or following orders, the building is his crucible. It links all the pillars: Afton manipulation, possession, remnant, kid spaces as traps, and the family's habit of calling control care. Baby's voice is calm like a parent, the procedures look like safety, the end is a ritual, and Michael's different because he finishes the ritual and keeps walking. Let's walk the story in that playthrough cadence: setup, investigation, rising danger, final confrontation, ending, and watch how Michael changes. Arrival in the wrong kind of workplace. We descend in a freight elevator that sighs like something alive. The surroundings are cheery and rotten at once. Cartoon decals on life support hardware. We notice how tasks are pitched like training. Press this, crawl there, stay still. Phone guy used to give shady corporate reassurance. Here, a childlike animatronic gives maternal instructions. That's the first crack in Michael's portrayal. He's not the guy rolling his eyes at a voicemail. He's the guy taking orders from a voice that feels safe to obey. The ally who isn't. Sister Location's midnights are chores, power modules, controlled shocks, hiding under a desk while something with ballerina ankles probes the bolts. We can see the private room, a cozy lie with a TV and fans, and we meet Baby, who feels like a guide. Wait, go now, don't breathe. Michael is different because he listens. He behaves like the good son in a bad family. Follow the rules and maybe you'll be spared. Each successful instruction is a breadcrumb to doom, the procession to the scooping room. We reach the night where the guidance becomes a schedule. The vents, the masks, the motions, every piece fits together as if someone has run this on you before. And then the punchline, the scooper slides out with clinical indifference, Michael's body convulses, and we're invited to imagine a cavity where a person used to be. And Nard, that lanky and inhuman braid of endoskeleton, slides into the vacancy, wears Michael like a suit, enjoys a stroll past daylight, and leaves him in the gutter. Final confrontation, he gets up. The camera lingers on what should be a corpse. He stands, he leaks, he stares into screen space and speaks not panicked, not angry, just calm. Father, I found her. I did what you asked. They don't recognize me at first. I'm going to come find you. Paraphrased, but the effect is the same. Michael is different because he responds to annihilation with purpose, not a scream, not vengeance in capital letters, a schedule. A new role follows him out. When Sister Location rolls credits, Michael has become the franchise's custodian. In Pizzeria Simulator, he'll take the night manager job that isn't a job, sit through salvage tapes like they're confessionals, and be present for the burn. The Sister Location change isn't cosmetic, it's a character transplant. He leaves the underground as the undead adult in the room. Okay, so why is he so different here compared to earlier depictions? Let's break it into 4 angles: visual, mechanical, psychological, and meta, because they all stack. Visual. Sister Location gives Michael a body horror identity. Before, purple guy was William's sprite color and a fandom shorthand. After the scooping, Michael owns the purple. We can see him expressionless but unsettling, the human who looks like a monster for the opposite reason. The games use that look to draw a hard line between father and son. Same color, opposite heart. Mechanical. The game swaps monitor watching for obedience puzzles. Michael's difference is baked into the loop. Survival is compliance until compliance kills you. That shift reframes him from night guard skill check to participant in a ritual. The moment he survives the ritual, he graduates from victim to agent. Psychological. Sister Location is the first time we hear Michael as self-directed. If you accept the popular reading that he's the Bite-era older brother, he's been living with survivor's guilt, so the mission Find Elizabeth reads like atonement. The scooping turns that guilt into post-traumatic growth. He's not human anymore, so he may as well finish the inhuman work, free the trapped, and his father. Meta. Sister Location is the series pivot from you are an anonymous guard to you are this person. The game needed a protagonist the story could follow into FNAF 6. Making Michael visibly altered and giving him that low, resigned monologue marks him as the through line. He's different because the franchise changes jobs here. It needs a human anchor. Before we theorize, rapid mini profiles of the entities that sculpt this change appearance. Role, threat. Michael, pre-scooping, night shift ordinary, tired and dutiful. Role, errand runner, fixer. Threat, his own obedience. Baby glossy plating, segmented face, motherly and monstrous. Role, caretaker voice, architect of the ritual. Threat, manipulates compliance. Enard, braided endos, lanky and inhuman. Role, collective will that needs a skin. Threat, silent occupancy, leaves you hollow. Michael, post-scooping, expressionless but unsettling, purple and purposeful. Role, custodian of the dead. Threat to monsters. Inevitability. Now the theory segment. So what does this all mean for why Michael is so different in Sister Location? Likeliest theory? The Crucible theory. Sister Location is Michael's forging. He enters as a codependent son and leaves as a self-chosen penitent. The scooping removes the last thing tying him to ordinary life, his body. What's left is purpose. That's why his tone is calm. He's already accepted the price. The game needs him to be this version to make Pizzeria Simulator's final night emotionally legible. The man who will sit in the fire because he promised to fix it. Remnant Agony Stabilization Theory. Book aligned. If Remnant and Agony are the series' metaphysics, then the Scooping Enard episode floods Michael with both. He becomes sustained by attachment, not undead by curse, but animated by the same soul physics that animate the animatronics. Hat makes him durable enough to finish the long job and explains the purple, a visual code for soul saturated. Identification then inversion theory. Psych angle. Michael's earlier bullying echoes William's control style. In Sister Location, he identifies with the family's aggressor dynamics. He obeys a calm voice. He does the tasks and is punished for it. The trauma flips him. He adopts the discipline, procedures, patience, but inverts the target. After this game, he uses the Afton method ritual, Heat, naming against Afton ends. Alternative fan reading, The Unreliable Frame. Some fans argue the ending monologue and post-scooping visuals are stylized. Michael isn't literally rotting in a supernatural way so much as the game is subjectivizing trauma. In this reading, he's different because we're seeing him through his own exhaustion and guilt, not because he's a literal walking cadaver. It's a minority stance, but it maps onto the series' love of fuzzy canonicity. Let's separate what's supported from what we're inferring so we keep it clean. Supported by Sister Location, Michael descends to the rental facility. Baby guides him through procedural tasks. The nights culminate in the scooping. Ennard uses his body and discards it. Michael is later shown standing, discolored, and delivering a calm promise to find his father. Supported by FNAF 6 framing, Michael takes a role consistent with a self-appointed custodian handling salvage. Present for Henry's fire, not shown escaping. Inferred, but widely accepted, Michael is the older brother from the Bite era. His obedience in Sister Location comes from Survivor's guilt and a codependent pattern with William. His post-scooping durability is remnant agony related rather than just cartoon logic. Debated, the exact metaphysics of why he's still walking, science versus soul versus symbolism, whether Baby's voice is Elizabeth's will or primarily a predatory AI persona, and how much of the ending speech is literal versus stylized confession. So in one tidy, slightly sinister line, Michael is different in Sister Location because the franchise finally tells the truth about him. He isn't the smirking bully and he isn't a nameless guard. He's the only adult left who will do the ugly, patient work even after a machine removes the parts that make that work worth doing. William builds hell and hides in it. Michael learns the layout and walks back in, not because he wants to die, but because someone has to turn the lights off. Alright, that's our breakdown of why Michael Afton is so different in FNAF, Sister Location, the look that marks him, the behavior loop that weaponizes obedience, the story that forges him in a lab instead of a stage, and the theories that explain how a scooped man becomes a moral compass. If you enjoyed this breakdown, remember to leave a like, comment down below with what you want to see next, and of course subscribe to Horror Lorekeeper for more FNAF and horror content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.